So guys, have you ever seen, if this wasn't you, good, but have you guys ever seen somebody argue on Facebook about politics? We all seen it, right? People are in disagreement. And when they're in disagreement, when you're looking at those comments in the threads, is anyone educating the other person? Does anybody ever say, you know what, Felix, you're right, I'm wrong? You know what, you're right. I think that never happens. Okay. And the reason, guys, is because you cannot impact somebody's level of understanding without having agreement. You can't. It's just impossible, right? It's weird to think about communication as a scientific formula, but it kind of is if you break it down, right? And how the brain works. Agreement, step one. Yes, Juan, I agree. This is an expensive program. I agree with you. What other training have you done before us? Okay, cool. How did that work out? Okay, you weren't satisfied. Got it. Would you be willing to invest more money to get a better result? You know what I mean? So always agree first, because once you disagree, they're not going to listen to you guys. It's going to look like a Facebook comments thread on politics, back and forth, in one ear and out the other. We don't want in one ear and out the other. We want in one ear, process and duplicate and repeat back, right? We cannot do that. First step, guys, always agree. All right, guys, so let's get started. It's sales, my favorite part of what I do. So to get started, guys, I want to play a little game with you. I'm giving away a $100 Amazon gift card right now. And what I want to ask you guys, I'm gonna get a little personal for those of you that don't know me. My name is Louis Torres. I'm the CEO and the founder of Unleashed Consulting Company. I've owned a marketing agency for a little over 5 years now. I've been in the dog training niche for almost 2 years, maybe 6 years now that I've owned the marketing agency. Wow, time flies. This whole pandemic has like all my timing off. So one of the things that has helped me scale to a 7-figure business and help more trainers and help you guys grow, help my staff grow and get to where we are today, is I invest a ton into personal development. Okay, who here in this room is investing into personal development? Raise your hand. Okay, so Charles, Ariella, don't be shy. You can raise that hand higher. Brittany, okay, cool. Ashley, awesome. Felix, let me ask you a question. For a $100 gift card, the closest person and the fastest person to get this right, okay, how much do I invest into personal development, into myself? Okay, I'm going to write it down on this so you guys don't think I'm cheating. I'm going to write it down.
Per month or
per
what?
year, per year. Okay, I want you to put it in the chat. Okay, I'm going to put it down here. Okay, I just wrote it down, so I'm not cheating. And I want you guys to put it in the chat. The first person and the fastest person gets a $100 gift card. Amazon.
That's a long range, Howard. 50 to 75.
Give me a number. Give me a number.
Louis doesn't play.
Damn, okay. Ariella, 10? That's it? All right.
Too bad.
It was close. It was close. I mean, you were there, but let's see, 54, 40, 50, 15, 10. But last year it was 50K. Okay, so Chanel, you're the winner. Where's my bell? Bing! Everybody get up for Chanel. $100 gift card. $100 gift card going to Chanel. Okay, cool. Thank you. And guys, I don't say that to brag, because who the hell cares? I mean, you guys aren't getting anything out of that except hopefully better programs and better success with my programs and from my staff. But the reason I bring that up is because a lot of people that I work with, a lot of dog training business owners, don't invest too much into personal development. And if they do, they aren't doing it with their staff, right? So very few are building up their team members. And the fastest way to grow your business and be successful is to build up people around you, right? Because you're only as strong as your weakest player. So if your weakest players are holding your business back, then you're not gonna be able to move forward at the speed and the efficiency that you want to, okay? All right, so guys, what is this all about? This 6-week boot camp, what is this? Who is this for? And how is this gonna benefit you guys? So this is for everyone, essentially. We're all in the business of sales. Whether you like sales or not, we're all in the business of sales. Everything that we do is sales, right? You go out to a bar, you meet a girl, you're selling her on why she should date you, right? Then eventually you're going to meet her parents. You're selling them on why they should invite you into their family, right? No matter what it is. When you have clients come in the door, that first impression is selling them on why they should be excited to meet you guys. Everything is sales, literally. Okay. So what I've realized as running a marketing company is I can send people leads all day long. I can send you 100 leads. I can send you 3 leads, whatever. I can't close them for you. My team can't close them for you. Some of you guys aren't closing them yourselves. You have people under you that are closing them for you, right? The biggest disconnect that I've seen, not just in the dog training world, not just in the pet industry, but in many industries, because I've been a part of many multi-million-dollar industries before I got into the pet space. What I saw was a disconnect in the sales process, the disconnect between marketing and a product or service, right? Because if I have a triangle and each tier, each side represents a different part of the business, I've got marketing, sales, product, service. The biggest disconnect is sales. We have this great marketing, we got great word of mouth, great branding, and a great product. But how often are we practicing sales? How often are we practicing our script? How often are we testing different methods and getting better at them? Seeing what works, what doesn't work, right? How many of you guys practice your sales script? Here and there? All right, most of you shaking your head. That's a part of it. If you're not going to practice it, how's your staff going to get better at it? How many of you guys practice handling objections with your staff? Going over the objections. Okay, so a couple of you, right? And a couple of you guys that are actually shaking your heads are I've seen some of your numbers doing pretty well, right? And I know the guys that aren't, because I go into these accounts, I listen to calls, and I hear what's going on. And it's not to put anybody down, but the reason we're all here today is to get better at this, okay? All right. So first off, guys, thanks for giving me your time today. I want to jump in. It's going to be 6 weeks. It's going to build on every single week. So for those of you here today, make sure you're taking notes because next week's going to be completely different. The week after is going to be different. For everybody that's here, you guys will get the replay, right? So that you can share it with your teams and that we can keep building on it. Okay, so what this is going to look like today, we're going to go over the intro, right? For some of you guys, this is going to be something you've heard before, but I want to make sure that everybody's starting out in the same place here. We're just going to go over intro to sales. What is sales, right? Give you some gems. And I'm going to give you the basic foundation of some of the sales influencers that have influenced my sales in my life with the ARC method. Charles, I know you know this. I know that you do a lot of Grant Cardone. He's a big influence of mine, Jordan Belfort. Some of you guys know my personal coach, Mike Barron. So real quick though, before I do this, I just want to get an idea. How many of you guys are doing professional sales development outside of Unleashed? Just give me a quick hand raise, just so I have an idea of who I can role play with and who needs it more. Okay, so Brittany, what kind of development who are you working with?
It's a lot of stuff that I do on my own of just listening to a lot of sales podcasts. I am going to start working with this other lady who focuses on development for dog trainers. And then also I really it's the NEPQ, Jeremy Miner. He has a really, really good course that I really like.
Okay, cool. Charles, what about you? Who are your major influences?
Grant Cardone, primarily. When I first got into sales, Zig Ziglar, though. He's still my favorite.
Okay, Uncle G. All right. Who else? Who else has somebody that they follow? If they're listening to podcasts, watching YouTube videos, buying courses, invested. Tejan, who do you like?
There's a couple people I like. I like the Jordan Belfort. It's because it's short and to the point. His daily sales podcast. I also like Eric Thomas a lot. Eric Thomas. It's not necessarily about sales, but it's about drive, motivation.
Okay.
So that's really good for me. And as far as investment into progressing, I am currently in a one-on-one mentorship with another dog trainer just to learn about organizing and becoming better. So that's going to be good.
Awesome. Well, guys, first off, for everyone that's here, round of applause for everybody that's here. Guys, check out your peers here. Seriously, check out your peers. You guys are here at a 5 o'clock Eastern time, late, putting in the work. So we appreciate you, and let's dive in. Let's do this, okay? So what we're going to go over today, guys, and you guys are all going to get a copy of this too. Foundation of sales. So we talked about a little bit that we're all in sales, right? No matter what it is that we do. Okay, your market is the local dog owner that is struggling with unwanted behaviors, puppy owners, right? People that have no idea what dog training is, had no idea that professional dog training existed, or it could be someone that has had a dog, but maybe they've, didn't realize where their dog was and how deep they were in trouble, right? So the most overlooked part of a business cycle, guys, is that initial communication and the actual act of providing the dog training service. Okay, we all know what it is. It's called the sales process, right? And what sales is, guys, is simply a transaction that occurs between parties to communicate, to create commitment towards a desired outcome. Okay, so in this case, a well-behaved dog. The process is a series of actions or steps taken in order to achieve a particular end, the sale. Okay, so what does that mean? That means, guys, before you are a dog trainer, you're a salesperson. Okay, I had a guy, he just finished his annual agreement with us. Okay, I had this guy, he was in Fort Worth, Texas, nice guy, had a good relationship with him, and we helped him blow his business up. Like, he blew up out there. And he said to me that he's at a point now, I've heard this from a few of you guys, he's at a point now where he just wants to work on the organic leads. He's got so many word of mouth people now that he doesn't want to worry about the paid people because they're harder to close. And he says the word of mouth people show up with their credit card in hand, ready to go, right? Because they've already seen a product, they know the pricing, they trust him because of their cousin or their neighbor, right? So all those things that happen in the sales process are already completed by somebody else. And he said, Louis, I love what you guys have done. I'm just at a point, I don't want to chase Facebook leads. He says to me, I'm not a salesman. He said, I'm not a salesman. I just want to train dogs. Okay. And that's not true. You are a salesman as a business owner. You're a salesman to your staff. When they interview with you and you're interviewing them, guess what? They're trying to learn if you're a good fit for them as well. You need to sell your business. And I guess I know a lot of us have struggled during this pandemic with hiring people. People don't want to work. People are unemployed, on unemployment, collecting money from the government, right? We're always in sales, guys. That's the first thing. So the fact that you guys are all here, you guys all get it, right? Some of the people that did not come today, they don't get it. And they're going to struggle with their business if they can't just comprehend that we're all in sales. That does not matter. If you want to be a dog trainer, you are in sales first. You cannot train that dog until you can get a transaction, until you guys can come to an agreement, have an understanding, and a transaction occurs. You cannot service that dog or that person. Okay. First rule of sales, guys. Okay. This is for a $25 gift card. First rule of sales. Say it in the chat. First person that gets it right. All right, guys. Brittany got this one. Always agree. Okay. It's not always be closing. You should, right? Always be closing. That's correct. Communication, good. How do we get into communication, Natalie? We have to agree. All right, so who knows what that means? Who wants to give it a shot? Juan, you want to take a shot at it?
I would say, listen to what the client's saying, right? And then, I don't know, agree that you understand the problem that they're having with their dog, right? And then, saying it back to the client, reaffirming that you understand what the problem that they're having and what solution they're looking for.
Okay, I like it. Kim, what does that mean to you? Always agree.
Honestly, I think that people just want to be heard.
Okay.
So understanding and really getting a little bit more personal with them. I have a praise report. I definitely have sold 2, 4 and a 6, or 6 and an 8, and I haven't sold not one yet as far as like higher up.
Sure.
And after we got off the sales call with you, me and my husband, I sold a 6 and an 8. And I did what you told me about getting more personal and taking the time to really understand them. And they love me. They told my husband, they were like, wow, your wife is amazing. Like, she was talkative and interactive and all that. And so, and I'm following the script too.
Awesome. Congrats. That's awesome. So a $6,000 package and $8,000 package.
Yeah.
Wow. Amazing. Great job. That's awesome. And that goes into the next part of ARC, right? Which, but we got to start here. Always agree. So guys, have you ever seen, if this wasn't you, good, but have you guys ever seen somebody argue on Facebook about politics? We all seen it, right? people are in disagreement. And when they're in disagreement, when you're looking at those comments in the threads, is anyone educating the other person? Does anybody ever say, you know what, Felix, you're right. I'm wrong. You know what, you're right. I think that never happens. Okay. And the reason, guys, is because you cannot impact somebody's level of understanding without having agreements. You can't. It's just impossible. Right? It's weird to think about communication as a scientific formula, but it kind of is if you break it down, right? And how the brain works. Agreement, step one. Yes, Juan, I agree. This is an expensive program. I agree with you. What other training have you done before us? Okay, cool. How did that work out? Okay, you weren't satisfied. Got it. Would you be willing to invest more money to get a better result? You know what I mean? So always agree first, because once you disagree, they're not going to listen to you guys. It's going to look like a Facebook comments thread on politics, back and forth, in one ear and out the other. We don't want in one ear and out the other. We want in one ear, process and duplicate and repeat back, right? We cannot do that. First step, guys, always agree. Okay. All right. So agreement is the first step of building affinity. Okay. Who knows what that means? Affinity. Ashley, tell me what affinity means.
Yeah, I don't know. This is going to be a learning experience for you. What's the context in this?
That's okay. I don't know is a good answer. Ariella, what does affinity mean? Kim.
Affinity.
Go ahead. Who's
affinity is a likeness, a pleasant interaction or a pleasant relationship between people or between things. Like I can have an affinity for chocolate.
Bingo. That's it. Okay. So yes, Will, that is correct. Affinity, likeliness, right? Kim, that person, you built affinity with them. And by building affinity with them, you're able to educate them and you're able to change their reality. Okay. So when they came into that phone call, if they do not like you, there's a less likelihood that they're going to purchase from you. Have you guys ever heard people buy from people they like? That's right to a certain extent. I would say people buy from people who understand them. That's the fucking game right there. If you can get that person to feel understood, they will buy from you. They got to feel like you truly are listening to their needs. Why? Because the other 5 dog trainers that they're contacting, they don't care. They're just pitching a program. How do I know this, guys? Because I hear all these calls. I actually have some calls set aside for you. I'm not going to name who the trainers are. They're no longer with us, but I want you to hear these calls, right? Just to get an idea, right? And see where we can get better, right? I'm gonna let you guys hear my calls too. I've called people, I jump off calls and I'm like, damn, I could have did this differently. I should have said this. It's the only way to learn. Listen to your calls. That's why we record them for training. And it's repetition, just like dog training. The first time you guys picked up a leash, you were not freaking, whoever you are today as a dog trainer, you were not that person day one. Okay. It's all learned through information and repetition. Same thing with sales, guys. So people buy from people that understand them. In order to begin the process of understanding, we must be on the same page with the prospect. Agreement helps with creating a level of comfort for the prospect. Comfort leads to an increase in trust, which is essential in selling high-ticket dog training programs. Why? So when people come to you guys as a word-of-mouth referral, guess what has already been established? Trust. Their family member or neighbor has praised you guys. Oh my God. Canine culture, look what they did to little Sparky. Look, he can hold a place when you guys come in the house now. He doesn't bark and jump all over you guys. Look at him. Oh my God, Nancy, you're right. He's amazing. Where did you go? I need the details. The trust, they get to see an actual finished product, right? So the reality is already there. They trust this person and they're actually seeing a dog. Oh yeah, he's down in the downtown metro area of Dallas and this is his location. How much was it? Like, oh my God, your dog's a completely different dog. How much did that cost you? It cost me $2,000. Wow. $2,000. Yeah, but look at him. Yeah, you're right. I'm looking at him. Okay. So I know it's $2,000, but I see what's possible with the dog, right? Guys, these are the conversations that are happening with your referrals and your word of mouth. That's why when they come to you, they're already ready to swipe. because of the difficultness of building a trust, authority, talking about pricing, building comfort, all those things has already been handled when they get to you. That's why it's so easy to close them, right? That does not happen with a cold Facebook lead. We got to build it through a sales process. My mindset gem for you guys is this. Okay. Number one rule of sales, again, what is it? David Turner, what is it?
To always agree.
Always agree, baby. That's the first rule. But here's the main thing, guys. Always agree does not mean it's your truth. Okay, it's important to understand. Yes, $2,000 is expensive. Yes, I understand that. And I don't like to use dog training philosophies in here, guys, because I know that we're all different, but I just want to give you an example of one. Okay. I'm not saying one method is better over another, but I just want to give you guys some real perspective here. Okay. Don't crucify me in the comments. Okay. Yes, I agree that e-collar training can be bad for a dog. Yes, I agree that using a prong collar can be bad for your dog. I agree with you if done incorrectly. However, if I could show you a different way to use it where I can actually help your dog, would you be open to me allowing you to show you that? It's so important to do that agreement first, because when you pull out that tool, that piece of equipment, they're automatically thinking about all of the negative things that they've heard before they even got to you. Okay. We're all biased, guys. Everyone here is biased in our own ways, right? We're human, it's natural. Okay. So in order to begin a conversation to help educate people, and again, I'm not saying I'm a balance trainer or who's a balance trainer or who's not, or who's positive only. I don't care, guys. I just want to help you guys help dogs, whatever your approach is, and help people. Okay. But whatever your method is, just know that they might come in there with a bias against your method. So just agree first and then open the door to having a communication. Because if you don't agree, they're leaving. They can nod their head and they're still leaving. So I'm from New York. I live in New York City. I've met all different types of people and cultures and people that, have come to New York and don't really speak English. And if you ask, I remember like asking someone for directions, like an Asian woman. I was like, hey, which direction is this? So she nods at me and she smiles, but she has no idea what I'm saying, right? We're just not in agreement there. Okay, so no matter what is said after that, there's no outcome. There's no agreement. So it comes in body language, it comes in communication, it comes in so many different ways. Okay, we need duplication. ARC formula. First person to get ARC gets a point towards the next gift card. I'm running out of money over here. All right, next person to 3 gets a $50 gift card. That's all I have budgeted for this. ARC, put it in the chat for 1 point towards a $50 gift card. Affinity, relatability, close. Affinity, reassurance, commitment. Affinity, resource, communication. Affinity, reality, communication. Marissa, you work for me. I can't give that to you. Okay, no one gets this one.
That's okay. I'm just showing off over here. That's all. I'm trying to get Louis points. I'm fine without an Amazon gift card.
Okay, cool. All right, affinity, reality, communication, guys. That's what it means. Affinity, reality, communication. So what is affinity, reality, communication? If you have all 3 of those things, what is it that you are able to have with another person? What does that create? Okay, so for another chance for a point here. Affinity, reality, communication creates equals
Connection.
What does that equal? What was that, Will?
Will said connection.
Okay. Not the word I'm looking for, but it's a synonym. Dejan, what do you got? Charles, bond. Okay. Keep going, guys. What's another word? What's a bigger word here? Affinity, reality,
Relationship. Yeah.
Relationship. Okay. Okay, guys, what do we need to do to complete a sale?
You have to get their buy-in.
Trust.
Trust. Yeah.
Rapport. Build
Yes.
rapport.
Yep. That's
They
important.
need to give you their money
Why would I give you my money, Juan?
because I have a service that they found value in what I'm presenting.
What's that called? Understanding, guys.
Understanding.
That's it. There needs to be a mutual understanding, right? When you guys sign an agreement, there's a mutual understanding. They're going to give you X amount of dollars, right? Your training agreement, you're going to help them improve their situation with their dog. How are you going to do it? By putting them into this program. They're going to work on these commands. They're going to do this homework. There's an understanding of how you can help them and what they're going to get with the money that they're going to give you. That's all it is. It's understanding. Okay. I got a guy for you that I think you guys would absolutely love. I actually want to get him on a show on one of these. He's kind of like my indirect mentor. He doesn't do any one-on-one consulting right now. He's too busy. His name is Alex Hormozy. If you guys want to write that name down, Alex Hormozy. Okay, this guy's he's a big deal. He's my age. He's 30 years old. He owns multiple 9-figure businesses, guys. And 5 years ago, he was like sleeping on a friend's couch. And he just invested so much in his personal development, and he's connected with a lot of big players now. And the
Can you
reason
spell his name?
yeah, I'll put it in the chat. Alex Hormozy. I listen to this guy all the time. A couple of key gems that recently he shared.
Is he on YouTube?
Yeah, YouTube. He's got a podcast. He's got free books. Guys, this guy is so successful and so humble that he's already put in his will. He's giving away all his money to charity. He's 30 years old, right? He's like, I don't want to give it. He's like, he doesn't know if he's going to have kids. If he does, he wants them to work for it, right? Super humble guy, super smart, brilliant guy, okay? And everything he's built has been on sales, just sales, different products. He started in the gym space. He's jacked. He's like freaking huge. He sells supplements. He started a franchise and, you know, leased it out and did all sorts of cool things. But his main thing on how he grows and how he scales is sales. His sales systems, he says, are the number one thing, not his marketing. It's not, he's got a great product. It's not his marketing though. Everyone thought, wow, you're the king of marketing for the gym and the fit pro world. He's like, no, I'm not, just the best at sales. The reason why I bring him up, guys, is because when I think of understanding, he made a point the other day. Okay, he follows a lot of Grant Cardone stuff as well, Charles. And he says, the only reason that someone does not buy from you guys, okay, this is big, guys. The only reason that that person did not purchase, if they leave that eval and they don't buy, is because of a lack of understanding. That's it. Unless they absolutely have $0 to their name, any objection they come up with is because there was a lack of understanding. So Harper's getting married Saturday, right? So I'm picking up some of the sales calls. I did my first sales call in a long time yesterday, and I closed him. He's a sit-mean sit guy. And at the end of the sales presentation, there were 0 objections. 0. Because all I focused on was affinity, reality, communication. We had an understanding, and because we had an understanding, there was no objections. There was nothing for him to think about, nothing for him to consider. Even when we talked about numbers, we broke them down right then and there, right? You pay us the price of you selling one program. Boom, you pay us. Money's not a problem. So anyways, whenever you guys lose a sale or lose an opportunity, just think about that. What did I miss? Was it the affinity? Was it the reality? Or was it the communication? Okay, now we're going to break those things down. But that was really important to hear, because now when I look back at all the sales parts, I can dissect where I lost them, where I dropped the ball, where I could have improved. But it's always one of these 3 areas. Granted, they have the money, or granted, they have a credit card, or have a way to come up with the money. It's one of these 3 reasons every single time. Okay. All right. So affinity, a strong liking for or an attraction to someone or something. Okay. Will, thank you for sharing that one. Reality. Okay. Reality, guys, is the second part here. The state of things as they actually exist, as opposed to an idealistic or notional idea of them. Who here has a distant relative that they haven't spoken to in a long time? Okay, I have one. I've got a cousin, and okay, he added me on Facebook the other day. I was like, oh shit, Tommy, what's he doing? He's living out in like Indiana, like as a mechanic now. Guys, I forgot about Tommy. I forgot that I had a cousin named Tommy. I forgot that he exists. And it happens, right? I have a big family. My family's Ecuadorian, like freaking cousins on cousins, big family. And the reality for my situation with Tommy was that we don't communicate anymore. And because we don't communicate, there's no more existence. There's no more reality. That's just the basic foundation of reality. What is reality? It's what you have in front of you. It's what you're able to conceptualize. So when someone comes in for dog training, or the idea of dog training, right? What is their reality? And right now with their dog, and how can you help them change their reality? There needs to be an understanding of that. If they don't understand, if you come in and you're pulling out whatever it is, if you guys are handling the leash, if you're not, if you don't, and you're just consultative, if you guys can't convince them, then their reality is the same. I'm going to leave here with a dog and Charles Countryman can't help us. I'm afraid to give Charles Countryman $2,500 because my dog's not going to change. Why do they feel that way? How can we change their reality if we don't know why their current reality is that state of being? Okay, so we wanted to give me an example. How can we change that reality? Austin, what do you think? How can I change someone's reality, their perception right now as it is?
I mean, I would think you could do it by showing them what it could look like.
Okay.
And also just kind of showing interest in how things progress to the point they were, so that we can talk about how we can get it better and come up with a plan.
Okay. How else? Ashley,
I think one way that you can change someone's reality is to, of course, show them, but some people don't know, a lot of our clients don't know the reality that they have yet, right? My dog pulls me on the street. Well, part of the reality of your dog pulling you on the street is they could pull you into the street where cars are coming in. You know, so some of the reality is really checking in and hammering in on potential pain or potential challenges.
Mm-hmm.
So that is what I kind of do with my clients. I'm not going to be as harsh, but today I had a call, a golden retriever. She put the dog on her waist. She was like, oh, I couldn't handle him on a leash, so now he's on my waist. So I'm telling her, I'm like, you know, you lived in downtown Miami. You got a golden retriever. God forbid, one day it decides to pull you into the street. There's lots of traffic. We definitely have to change that reality.
Yeah, so exactly. That's a great way to do it. What ifs, hypotheticals, the future, potential pain points. Okay, I love that. Who else has one? Felix, you got one?
I have a side one. It's kind of funny. I'll do the same work, but I actually work with the dog during the consultation. And this dog was a small dog, easy dog. And I actually showed them how much better the dog was by using another dog. And the dog stopped reacting and they couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
But the thing is, I still didn't get the sale. The dog stopped lunging, the dog stopped barking.
Sure.
But I still couldn't, they still didn't sign up.
Okay. So we'll go back to that one. We'll go back to that one as we keep going. We'll try to figure out why. Ashley, what do you got? Thanks for sharing, man.
For me, when I talk about reality with my clients, I acknowledge where they're at. Reaffirm and re-acknowledge where they're at. Okay, I hear that's really frustrating. I can imagine that's a huge struggle. I can imagine the relationship you have with your dog isn't what you wanted it to be because you're having these problem issues come up. You can insert any problem into it. And I like to go into 3 different ways, or one of all 3, or use all 3 in order to close the sale. There's the direct way. Yes, we can help your dog with those problems through this training plan. I would like to see them firsthand and observe some things that maybe you're not picking up on, but my professional eye can walk you through what I'm seeing and what we can change with the training plan. Very direct. Okay. Then there's the imaginative way of enrolling them into a new reality. Imagine how good it's going to feel when you have that dog that you always envisioned having. Imagine that satisfaction, that bond you're going to have, that love, that respect, and knowing that you two got there together. And then there's also, besides the imaginative, you can go into like the emotion or the scenario, and you can flip between all of those. So you want to acknowledge not only like where their reality currently is, but enroll them into the possibility. Because if we can't enroll them into the possibility, they can't see it. There's a lack of understanding. There's a lack of communication. They're still stuck where their current reality is. People really don't know how much you care until they know how much you care. Yes, showing them is one way, but I'm going off the basis that like we're doing a phone consultation. We're in that free phone consultation. I'm trying to get them to pick me over the last guy they maybe had an in-person consultation with or phone consultation with, and that person didn't take the time to listen to them. So if I have to go into talking about methods, I can talk about methods. If I have to go into talking about tools, if I have to use dog training terms, sure, I'll do that. But for me, it's connecting with the client and enrolling them in the possibility of what the reality could actually look like should we move forward together, if that makes sense. No,
that's exactly the definition of understanding. So guys, Ashley, that was great. Thank you for sharing. You jumped a little bit ahead of me because that's what we're building towards. I can tell you have you been to sales training with Harper?
I have not been to sales training with Harper. I've been through personal development programs that are from like Chris Lee and Michael Strassner, and it's all an enrollment game, which essentially an enrollment game is a sales game. If people can't be enrolled in you or enrolled in themselves or enrolled in the possibility, then they're really not going to do much stepping outside of their comfort zone. And that's exactly what this is.
Yeah, no, that's exactly what we go over, guys, on Thursdays. If you guys haven't been yet, this is exactly what we talk about. Again, today's day one, so I don't want to get too far ahead, but everything that Ashley just said is what we're going to focus on. I'm getting there, but there's one step before that. Before you can change someone's reality, guys, what I was looking for here is you have to ask. You got to ask questions, okay? The biggest misconception about sales is that it's the best speaker is the person that's going to be the best salesman. And that's false. It's the best listener. The best listener, the person who can get an understanding and gets the questions to their, or gets the answers to their questions, is the person that wins in sales. That's what I teach my guys. That's a Jordan Belfort thing. It's listening, it's asking the right questions, it's finding the need, it's fact finding. Because all the things that you just talked about, Ashley, we need to figure out what is their ideal situation. So you mentioned their dream dog, right? The possibilities. What does it look like? Right, David, you're going to have somebody that's like, I just want my dog to not jump on people when they come into the house. Okay, great. Then you can start going down that rabbit hole. Someone else says, I want an off-leash dog. I want a dog to be able to go hiking with me. I want a dog to be able to go to That's a different situation, right? So we got to figure out what their goals are. Why did they want that? What's preventing them from reaching that, right? All those things go into actually the fact finding in order to get to that point, yes, of having those conversations. But guys, yeah, I would love to work with people with the leash to change their reality, but we need to figure out first why they're in this state of mind to begin with, right? So guys, I walked down my neighborhood with my two healers the other day, and we're walking in a nice heel, right? And I get a lot of compliments. People are like, how did you do that? You must train them. And I'm like, yeah, I spent a lot of time in training. I'm like, oh, I tried training. It doesn't work for me. It didn't work for my dogs. I hear that every single day from a different person. I've tried training and it didn't work. What the hell does that mean? Have you guys ever asked that? Oh, what is that? What does that mean? Tell me about your experience. Guys, that is the most important question you can ask. Some of you guys here are remembering us asking these questions to you. Tell me about your experience with your previous marketing company. Why do you feel like they were ineffective for you? What could have been done differently, right? Doesn't matter what the game is. It's the same questions. We need to understand their situation. We need to understand why they are in their state of being right now. Facebook ads don't work. Marketing doesn't work. Why not? What happened in your previous situation? What happened with your previous trainer where you felt that training didn't work? Oh, because I went to PetSmart and I brought my dog there and they told me to do this and my dog's still having the same problems. Got it. So you had your experience at PetSmart and you feel like your dog is untrainable. What else have you tried? Okay, so you haven't tried anything else. Why not? Are you just going to be complacent with your dog? Okay, cool. Got it, David. So tell me, when you first got your dog, why did you get a dog in the first place? What did you imagine your life was going to be like? Did you want to go out hiking? You want to do all these things? Okay, cool. Why'd you give up? Okay, so you haven't found a solution yet. Cool. So here we are. We could potentially be a solution. Tell me what you're looking for today in order to feel comfortable enough to make a decision that you are going to change your life with this dog. So sometimes you got to backtrack, right, to change their reality. Okay, but the first thing is we really just got to get an understanding. We cannot get an understanding if we don't know their current reality and their state of mind and where they want to be. Okay, so affinity, reality, communication. Who here does not live in the city that they grew up in? Who's moved? Okay, most of us. Cool. Okay, so guys, I'm from Poughkeepsie, New York. Shout out to Felix. I live in Charlotte, North Carolina now. And when I go home, let's say I go home for like the holidays, you know, I might go out for a drink and run into somebody. Okay. And I might say, hey, Charles, what's going on? It's been a long time. How is everything? Guess what Charles is going to say? Everything's great. Charles could be on unemployment, like living in his, you know, his sister's couch, you know, stressing out about life, but he's going to say the same damn thing. Everything's great, man. How are you? Surface level, right? So guys, another thing is people generally, when they first meet you, we're guarded and we don't tell the truth. So how can we break down walls and get to the real truth? Is we have to build affinity. Almost every single phone call that I've heard, like hundreds of phone calls from trainers, the client says this: oh, David, my dog's really, really good, but I think they can, you know, improve this. Oh, my dog sits. No, he knows sit, he knows down already. He just pulls on the leash sometimes. No, he's really, really good. Right? It's the same thing. It's like, all right, tell me what's really going on. David, you would not have called me today if your dog was really, really good. I appreciate that your dog's a good dog, but come on, what's really going on over there? Right? So that deeper level of conversation, you got to build affinity so that you can change the reality, because their reality is that their dog is really, really good. We got to cut through that. That's not true. Right? So we'll go into this in a couple of sessions here, guys, but some of the ways that we can do that, I know some of you guys do this already. Oh, my dog can sit. Okay, let's take your dog outside next to the road and put him into a sit. The car's driving by and people, right? You set them up kind of for failure in that eval sometimes, right? If you go to in-home or you bring them, if they come to your facility, oh, put your dog into a sit. I'll put the leaf blower on, see your dog sit. Or just walk near him, walk near the dog, put the dog in a sit and just walk near the dog. Dog's gonna start moving, right? So change the reality. There's so many different ways you could do it. Ashley, I agree with you. I get on the phone, I figure those things out. I have those deeper level conversations before I even get to an evaluation, because I don't want them to waste my time. Because if I ask somebody, why did you get a dog? What did you imagine? Why aren't you doing anything? And they say, well, I don't know. I'm not really committed to my dog, or I just have zero money or zero time. Then they're not going to be a good client. And I don't need to do an evaluation with them. I just call the next lead. All right. Communication, the imparting or exchanging of information. Okay. What we just talked about, guys, making your client feel understood is extremely important in differentiating yourself from other trainers. But more importantly, understanding your prospect will help identify if or how you can help their situation. If there is no mutual understanding between you and the prospective client, no transaction will occur. Therefore, when a client creates objections or originations, it is because we do not have one or more of the above pieces of ARC formula, and they do not have a true understanding of how you can solve their problem. So, Felix, let's go back to your situation. All right. So you showed these people what their dog could do, and then they left and they didn't buy.
Yeah.
Did you ask them why?
Afterwards?
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
I usually have my assistant follow up with them.
Okay. In the future, I would find out why just to get better information. And I would say, hey, you know, Ariella, are you guys ready to purchase today? Are you guys ready to move forward with this program that I recommended for you? No? Okay, cool. Just so I can have feedback for myself and my staff here, why didn't you guys purchase today?
They usually say they have to talk about it.
Yeah. Cool. What are some of the things that you guys need to talk about? Maybe I can help you.
We just have to discuss it. We just have to go over and look over financials. Okay,
cool. So financially is something that you want to discuss. If this thing was free, what else would be preventing you from getting started today? Because I want to, this is a whole other topic, handling objections, but I want to figure out if it's really money or if there's anything else. Maybe they didn't like me. Maybe they didn't like my facility. Maybe they didn't like how I popped their dog. I don't know. Who knows? Maybe I didn't like the way I handled the leash. It might not just be money, but I want to ask every single time. It's okay because it's a learning experience, right? It's okay if they don't buy from you, but let's learn from it and figure it out. Because if we ask, then we can figure out where we dropped the ball in the ARC. But we'll never know how to get better unless we ask. So that's just something I would do every single time you don't close, guys. I would just ask, hey, what could we have done differently to earn your business today? Okay, if it was a little bit less, dude, guys, I called a client. This guy was like, oh, these leads, I can't close anybody. I call one of his leads. And I said, hey, this is Louis Torres. I'm a partner at X, dog training company. And I just wanted to figure out what we could have done to earn your business. And he said, honestly, man, I loved it. He's like, I want to work with you guys, but it was just out of my budget. I said, okay, cool. What did we quote you? $5,000. Got it. So when you were looking for dog training originally, what was your budget? He's like, oh, honestly, like I wasn't looking to spend much, but for your program, he's like, if it was $2,000, I'm in. I go, so, okay. So if I sent you an invoice for $2,000 right now, you're in. He's like, absolutely, man. That's a freaking deal right there, guys. But it's like following up, maybe you put him into a program, a lesser program to get him some foundational stuff, right? But it's just the feedback part of just being afraid. Sometimes we're afraid of confrontation. So we're just afraid to ask, hey, why didn't you go with us today? What could we have done better? What could we do to earn your business? What was missing today that you would have liked to see in order for us to get your business and help you in your situation?
I did that one time.
Okay.
And I saw it down. I was like, well, if it's too much, you could. No, it was a puppy. She just went to obedience.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, you could try even Petco, $200.
Yeah.
She said even $200 was out of her budget. It was too much for her.
Well, why'd you get a dog if you can't afford $200 training? I wouldn't
That's
say it like that.
exactly what I was thinking. That's
I
exactly.
know.
What the hell? What's wrong with you? You can't even do $200? Oh, that's too much.
Well, how much is it going to cost you to spay your dog and do all the other things that the vet's going to tell you to do? The behavioral stuff is just as important, right? How many phone cables are they going to chew up in sneakers and stuff? You think it's be worth more than $200? Guys, that's how I got somebody. I got to give you, if you guys go into the vault, into the courses, there's actually a video of me closing someone who said that her dog got picked up by the animal shelter or whatever, the local animal people, right? And it happened twice, and it cost her $500 to get it out the second time. So I said, okay, so it cost you $500 already. So how many more times is this going to happen before you invest in training so it doesn't happen anymore? But how did I find out that information? I just kept asking questions. Why are you here today? What is the number one thing I could solve for you? Why is that so important for you to get solved? For puppies, Felix, typically, guys, people start looking for training for puppies. Why? Someone shout something out here. Why, Ashley, why do people get started with training before there's problematic behavior? Why are they getting started with training or looking for training?
Potty
because
training.
they want to stay ahead of it. Potty training, they mostly potty training, honestly, but because they have an idea of the perfect dog that they want, and they want to start as early as they can.
Cool. But now I'm going to blow your mind. Why?
Why?
Yeah, why?
They won't struggle.
How do they know they're going to struggle?
They want to avoid the puppy stages, raising the puppy and peeing everywhere.
How do they know that's what it's going to be like?
The reality.
They've done it before.
They've had a negative experience in the past, and that is why that's their reality. Their reality is based on their experience, guys. Michelle said in the comments, because they had a bad dog in the past. Guys, we learned from Alfie, our Chihuahua, right? That's why I got training I spent $4,000 on training for Pepper when I got her at 8 weeks, right? Because my experience with Alfie, that is why. I actually have a sales call on this, guys, live recorded sales call that I'm going to send over to you guys. And I asked the lady, right, why are you, first off, I love that you're being proactive. I'm in agreement. I'm building affinity. I love that you're being proactive. I love that you're here. Most dog owners at 8 weeks, they would never even consider dog training. They're going to go through hell, and then they're going to call us 6 months down the road, right? I love that you're here, but also I'm a little curious. What makes you feel like you have to get ahead of the game here with your dog? And then she said, well, I grew up with the German Shepherd. It was always crated. We can never bring it around family. When I got this dog, I didn't want to have a life where I had to have my dog in a situation like that. Oh, wow. Got it. So I kind of grew up in a similar situation. I had a crazy German Shepherd too in my house. We left it in the basement because it was so damn crazy. And it sucked. How did that make you feel? Like having a dog just trapped in a crate all the time? Oh, well, it was this, and that. Okay, cool. Now we're getting somewhere. So having like even having an 8-week-old puppy, and sometimes we think like they're just going to buy a program or they're not. Just having an extra 3-minute conversation to really understand why they're being proactive in the first place can help you guys help them feel like you guys are the right decision for them versus your competitor. So guys, we're going to wrap up here at 6 o'clock. I got one more thing for you. One last thing. Give me 60 more seconds, guys. Okay, my last thing here. In order to create an understanding with ARC, okay, the salesperson must have control. You must have control. Really quick, who wants to give a stab at this?
Take leadership in the conversation.
Yes, and how do we do that?
By having structure. I feel like some type of plan.
Yep. And how can we have structure?
You can only structure something if you have goals.
Okay. I'm looking for questions, script, right? So the script that we have in our course too, if you guys are interested, it's just a listed script of questions. That's all it is, right? Because the person that wins the sale is the person that got an understanding and got the answers to the questions that they're asking. Okay, we have 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. We need to be active listeners, and we need to be really good at listening in order to pick up on things and to pick up on sales cues on where we can structure this conversation. Is going to be different for everybody, but I have to be listening in order to figure that out. So my sales guys make fun of me all the time. They always make fun of me because when they listen to my sales calls, sometimes there's a communication lag. I'll say, hey, Charles, so, what are, what's the number one thing that we can help you solve right now in your business? And you'll explain that to me. And I won't say, yeah, absolutely, we can do that for you. I'll just sit there and I'll wait. I'll process it. I'll write it down. I can think about your answers to your 3 previous questions, and I can figure out my next question, how I'm going to navigate it, and what's an important question for me to ask next. I'm quiet. I'm an active listener, and I'm okay with a little bit of lag in communication. And they say it drives them nuts to have that silence for a second there, but it's okay as long as you're utilizing it in a way to process information. So that's what control is, right? So Juan, you call me and you say, hey, I heard about Unleashed. Or I heard, Juan, you call me as a dog trainer. Hey, I'm looking for dog training help. What are your guys' programs? What is your structure, right? Have you guys ever had that happen? People just call you and they're like, what are your prices? I'm interested. What programs do you have? They just get right to it. Well, hey, John, I really can't help you because every dog's different. So I want to answer that question for you. Let me get a little bit more information about your situation so I can give you the correct quote on what that might be for you. That sound good? Sound fair enough?
Yeah, that's fair.
Okay, cool. So tell me a little bit about your situation. What do you have going on with your dog, right? So I can control the conversation. I can answer them. But if I sit there and I go, oh, well, we have our board and train program. It's 2 weeks for $3,000. And then we have the private lesson program if you wanted to go that route. First off, why are we allowing the client to decide what route they're going to go on? You guys are the experts. You're supposed to guide them and tell them where to go. When I go to a doctor, guys, I don't ask the doctor for the prescription I'm looking for. I tell the doctor my symptoms. He does a thorough exam. And then based on my health history, my exam, everything that I'm telling him, he's going to prescribe me something. And guess what? When I leave, I'm going to do it. I'm not going to not listen to the doctor. I'm going to listen to the doctor because he comes with authority and elevation. He's got a MD thing on his wall, and there's trust and authority. So if you guys attack your evals and your conversations the same exact way with authority, you saying, oh, you could go this route or you could do this, that's not authority. You're allowing them to make the decision. And that's why I don't like to have prices on programs, or I don't like to talk about programs until I actually get more information about the dog, because I want to guide them. Secondly, it's ethical. It's more ethical. Imagine a doctor just talks to you on the phone and writes your prescription without taking your vitals, without giving you an exam, and without getting your health history. That's not really ethical, right? So that's why I like to do some sort of evaluation so I can see the dog, because when they tell me my dog's aggressive and the dog comes in, its tail's there in between its leg and it's really just fearful, I don't need to charge them $5K for a program that they don't really need. Dog just needs a little bit more confidence and a little structure. You can do that with 5 lessons. You know what I mean? So I'm not telling you guys how to run your business. I'm just trying to give you guys ideas on sales, on how to help people get an understanding. And if you're truly looking to help them, if you're looking to just make money. Because I used to be the consumer, guys. I was the guy that spent $3,000 on dog training, right? And I went with the person who I've truly felt was understanding us, our situation, and how he could help us. That's the person that I went with. Cool. All right, so guys, you guys are gonna get this right after this call. I'm gonna send this out to you, right? So all the notes, I appreciate you guys for taking notes and having your comprehension of everything that we went through today. I'm gonna send this out to you. I also have a video that I was telling you guys about with the puppy. I'll send that out to you guys as well, of me closing her over the phone on like a paid session or paid evaluation or something. And then we have the other one inside the course as well, if you guys want to take a look at that. So guys, that's day one. That's just the foundation of everything that we're going to go over. The next 5 weeks is going to build on this. Okay. It's going to be a little bit more interactive as we go. There's going to be a little bit more drilling. So I'm going to need volunteers. And if anybody has a phone call that they want us to hear, that would be amazing too. If not, we'll just drill it out live. So be ready for that. Okay.
I can record my consultation if you want at audio.
Yeah, definitely. We'll take a look at it next time. Did you guys get something from this today? Can you guys raise your hand if you got something? Tejan, I like Will. Make sure he comes to the next one too.
All right.
All right, guys. Thanks for your time. I'll send you guys a recording too. I'll see you soon. See you next Thursday. 5 o'clock.
Yeah, thanks.